This MadLabZ episode is sponsored by Trifecta. Trifecta is a company that specializes in a particular product that provides beneficial fungi to your plant root zone. Particularly our passion plant cannabis, but also beneficial to most other plants. This product is called MYCO Supreme, containing mycorrhizal fungi, known as Rhizophagus irregularis. MYCO Supreme has a 50 spore per gram ratio. I will be sampling MYCO Supreme and performing a series of long-term tests in a controlled environment, documenting the true results of my experience using mycorrhizal fungi. The research looks promising and was a blast to learn about. Here at MadLabZ we are working diligently to set up and host an in-depth MYCO Supreme controlled grow comparison series coming in early 2024. I hope you all stay lifted, cheers to the real ones, and keep watching to learn more about this super cool Rhizophagus irregularis fungi and some interesting facts about this funky fungi.
Many different species live in the forest, some closer than others. Fungi usually grow close to certain plants. This can only be explained by taking a look under the earth. This is where the fungus, in the form of a huge network of threads called the mycelia, runs through the earth and connects with the root system of neighboring plants, in this case, a beech tree. Innumerable threads create a dense network around the tree's outermost fine roots. Through the widely branched mycelium, the fungi can very efficiently absorb water and minerals, including phosphorus and nitrogen, and through the individual threads, transport them straight into the tree roots. From there, the water and minerals are transported into the leaves. In the cells of the leaves, photosynthesis takes place, creating dextrose from water, carbon dioxide, and the sun's energy. So much dextrose is produced that it's more than enough for the whole beech tree. What is left over, which can be up to a third, is transported underground. For fungi, this process is essential for survival, as they themselves cannot produce any dextrose. This form of symbiosis is called Mycorrhiza, and there are advantages for both partners. The fungi helps the tree to absorb water, and in return, it gets dextrose to survive and grow. In the root system of a tree, there can be more than 30 types of Mycorrhiza fungi. They create a network between the trees. Via this fungal connection, a strong tree can supply its weaker neighbors with nutrients. Some mycorrhiza fungi can even coexist with many different plants, an ingeniously designed underground network.
You may have heard the term mycorrhizal fungi, sometimes called mycos, in recent years, but what exactly are they? The origins of the word offer the simplest explanation. Myco comes from the Latin word for fungus, and rhiza is Greek for root. These fungus roots can be greatly beneficial to gardeners. Mycorrhizal fungi belong to the same group as mushrooms, the fungus kingdom. A mushroom is similar to an apple. It is the fruiting body of a larger organism. But, rather than growing from a tree, the mushroom is formed from an interconnected network of root-like tubes called hyphae. Most hyphae are very small, between 1/10 to 1/50th of the width of a human hair, making many of them invisible to the human eye. More than 450 million years ago, certain types of plants and fungi formed a symbiotic, or mutually beneficial, relationship with each other. The plants give the fungi sugars that they produce through photosynthesis. In exchange, the fungi give the plants nutrients and water that they extract from the soil. 80 to 95% of land plants benefit from some type of mycorrhizal relationship. What does this mean for gardeners? Let's say you plant a seed in soil without any mycorrhizal fungi. The plant's roots will go out in search of nutrients and water to feed its growth. As the available resources are used up in one area, the roots grow further and further out, expending more and more of the plant's energy. Now, let's introduce some mycorrhizal spores. The plant sends signals out to any mycorrhizal fungi in the area, and the spores respond by growing hyphae in the direction of the signal. If a spore is able to find the root of the plant, the hyphae will penetrate the root and begin to grow structures that allow for the plant and the fungi to exchange resources. The mycorrhizal fungi will now begin to grow an extensive cotton ball-like mass that will give the plant access not only to the nutrients and water outside the reach of its roots, but, since the hyphae are so small, they can access nutrients in the small spaces between the roots as well. Though most commonly grown plants will benefit from mycorrhizal applications, there are a few exceptions. The Brassica family, which includes plants such as broccoli, cabbage, radishes, and kale, is one. Beets, chard, blueberries, cranberries, and rhododendron are some others. Though mycorrhizal fungi are naturally occurring in most soils, the application of fungicides and pesticides, the use of heavy machinery, and leaving soils without any plant growth for weeks at a time have created soils with little or no mycorrhizal fungi populations. The ground surrounding newly built residential neighborhoods and commercial properties is particularly lacking.
Over 80% of plants live in a symbiotic relationship with a remarkable organism called mycorrhizal fungi. Through this symbiosis, the fungi and the plant naturally develop a lifelong bond of mutual benefit that's existed for over 450 million years. Mycorrhiza is the term used to describe the symbiotic relationship between mycorrhizal fungi and a plant's root system. First, the spore of mycorrhizal fungi germinate in the soil and make their way to the nearest roots. The roots are then colonized by the fungi, and mycorrhiza are established. The fungi penetrate the root and create an internal network of fungal structures inside the root cells, where the plant and mycorrhizae exchange sugars and nutrients. Finally, the hyphae continue to develop outside the roots, forming an extended network of fine filaments, which cover up to 700 times more soil area than the plant's own roots. This secondary root system draws in extra beneficial nutrients and water, supporting a plant or tree for its entire lifetime.
What are endo and ectomycorrhizal fungi, and an explanation on how they differ? Endomycorrhizal symbiosis, or arbuscular mycorrhizal symbiosis, is a type of mycorrhizal association between plant roots and fungi. The primary fungi in this association belong to the Glomuromycota phylum. In endomycorrhizal associations, fungal hyphae penetrate plant root cells, forming structures called arbuscules and vesicles. Arbuscules facilitate nutrient exchange between the fungus and the plant, enhancing the plant's ability to absorb water and nutrients, especially phosphorus. Widespread in nature, many plants form symbiotic relationships with arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi. This association is particularly vital for various agricultural crops and plants in natural ecosystems. Ectomycorrhizal symbiosis is another type of mycorrhizal association, differing in fungal colonization location. Ectomycorrhizal fungi belong to diverse fungal families, including Basidiomycota and Ascomycota. In ectomycorrhizal associations, fungal hyphae surround plant roots, forming a dense network known as the Hardig net. Unlike endomycorrhizal fungi, ectomycorrhizal fungi do not penetrate plant cells. Instead, they form a sheath around root tips, enhancing nutrient uptake and providing other benefits to the host plant. Commonly found in trees, especially in temperate and boreal forests. Many economically important tree species, such as pines, oaks, and birches, form ectomycorrhizal symbioses. Both endomycorrhizal and ectomycorrhizal symbioses involve mutually beneficial relationships between plants and fungi. They differ in how fungal hyphae interact with plant roots. Endomycorrhizal fungi penetrate root cells, while ectomycorrhizal fungi form a sheath around root tips. These associations play crucial roles in nutrient cycling, plant health, and ecosystem functioning.